Should a nation be of all one race of people? And you have to ask yourself, would God create racism? And the answer is, if he did, it was to separate the races into their own nations. He did not design a nation to be multicultural. He designed every nation in the world to be one race of people, so there is not racism. That is why he created the three races in the very beginning of time, was to separate them into their own nations. And as you recall, the three sons of Noah, which was the three founders of the three races of the earth at the Tower of Babel 4,000 years ago, what did God do when they came together in the Tower of Babel to build their multicultural empire? He divided them. He separated them into their own nations. The white people went to Europe. The black people went to Africa. The Semitic Jews all migrated to the Orient. Later became the American and Indian people. And if we go back into the Holy Bible, from the very beginning of time, God commanded the Jews themselves, told them to be pure racially, to have a nation that is united racially, to be a nation of one race of people. And whenever these Jews have defied God's command to do this, they have, because of their interracial marrying and their multiculturalism, they have wandered throughout history being hated, wandering Jews. They have gone into the white Christian nations of Europe and have corrupted these nations from within, bringing their sick, demented multiculturalism with them and interracial marriage. And it was the Jews that began the first multiculturalism, and they throughout history have historically practiced this evil, even though God told them to be a nation of one race of people, not to interracially marry, not to intertwine with other religions, but be a nation that is pure and of one race of people. So we white people, we have to follow God's commandments. And when God commands the Jews to be pure racially, then we white people need to follow the same cue and be racially pure, and to live in a nation that is of all one race of people. And the Jews have thumbed their nose up at God. They are the most wicked, vile race and religion of people that has ever walked on the face of the earth. And that is one of the reasons why Germans hated them, and Russians hated them, and English hated them, Muslims hate them today. And the problems that this Jewish multiculturalism has brought to America is destruction. When this nation was formed in 1776, it was designed by godly white men who designed this nation with the thought in mind of obeying God's command that a nation be of one race of people. And because of Jewish multiculturalism, the white people in America launched a civil war in the 1860s, and then forcefully injected black people as citizens, and this is what has caused racism in America today. And if you followed the patterns of Negro Americans since the freedom of slaves and forcefully admitting them as citizens in 1865, you see a progress of these people's advancement all the way up to the modern day civil rights era, where these Negroes now have power to go into a court and sue a white man for failing to hire this Negro. So if you're a white man, you're living your life out peacefully, and you hire your white brother to make sure your white brother has a job so he can take care of his family and children, this malicious, murderous, evil Negro and Mexican Indians and Jews, all of them, will come up to the white man, use the court systems on the '64 Civil Rights Act, and destroy this white man's life. Make him pay millions of dollars to these filthy maggots, and force, and this advances the Negro while it's racially tearing down white males. This is why God said to the Jews, be pure, be a nation of one race of people, do not interracially marry, be pure, and I will bless you. What happened to white men when they turned from God's commandments as he gave to the Jews to apply to themselves? What happened to them when the white people started allowing Negroes into their nation? Racism. What happened when the white man let the Indians off of the reservations and made them citizens? Racism. What happened when Americans started letting Jews come over here in the 1900s? Before 1900s, Jews were not allowed in this country. Racism. So the list goes on. And you white men are going to have to seek God's divine guidance and seek him with all your heart, your mind, your soul. And by the way, you've got a fight on your hands.